Okay, and we're moving on to the lovely Shahneila. Hello, so nice to have you here. How are you doing? Oh, she's on. There we go.
I'm here.
You were so on time. It was amazing. Bang on 9:30.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you very much.
So we have actually got so many people watching. So all of the attendees, the lovely attendees here, they are teachers from schools. So behind them are loads of students, all.
Oh, wow.
This is obviously also being recorded, so everyone who isn't able to make it here today, they are going to be watching it back afterwards. So you are going to be presenting to thousands of students across the UK. So without further ado, I'm going to let you crack on with it. So tell us about Ukie. Tell us about what's going on.
Okay, well, no pressure then. Bear with me, everyone. I'll do my best. Can I share my screen? I have a presentation.
Absolutely. I've actually got yours up as well, just in case there are any tech difficulties. So
okay,
you'll be able to share
okay, let's do this then. I'm assuming you can see that.
That looks beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes, on you go.
Fantastic. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm here to talk about careers in video games. So just a bit about, here we go, just who I am first. So I'm head of education for Ukie. I run an initiative called Digital Schoolhouse for them. A while ago, about 9 years ago, I used to be a teacher, in short, but I'm not the interesting one. The interesting thing are the people that I work with. So who is Ukie? Ukie is the trade association for the video games industry here in the United Kingdom. And our aim really is to try and make the UK the best place to make, sell and play games. And so in order to do that, we represent the industry, we're the voice of the industry to a lot of different people, to government, but also in sort of different parties and stakeholders. And one of the things that we need to try and make this industry the best place in the world to make games is talent. And young diverse talent, and that's all of you students such as yourself. So one of the key roles that I play is to help bridge that gap between the video games industry and students such as yourselves. So I thought I might start, because I've only got 15 minutes, I'm going to sort of really dive straight in. And I thought, where do I want to begin? And I thought, well, actually, there's probably quite a few myths around working in the video games industry. And I thought, let's start with tackling a few of these misconceptions. So the first one is video games. Well, we all know they're so fun and they're entertaining. And if we were physically together, asked you to put your hands up and say who plays a video game, most of you, I can imagine, would put your hands up. But in that fun and entertainment, sometimes people think, well, actually, it's not that serious and we can't really make a living out of playing games. But that's actually not true. The video game sector is one of the fastest growing sectors, not just in the UK, but actually globally. In the UK, it's bigger than the film and music industry combined. And that's because so many people, 91% of 3 to 15-year-olds playing video games in the UK. 60% of adults, and if we think about the amount of money we spend on video games, we spend over £7 billion in 2021 on video games and video games related products in 2021. So it's huge. The other one I hear quite a lot, actually, and when I was a teacher, I used to hear this quite a lot from my own students as well. It was, I want to work in video games, but I'm not that great a programmer, or I don't enjoy programming, and it's not really my thing. So sometimes there's this thing that we need to know how to program to work in video games. And yes, it's true. There are a lot of programming roles within the video games industry, but there are a lot more non-programming related roles. And this is just a snapshot. I've taken this from an organization called Screen Skills. So behind each of these, if you go onto the Screen Skills website, behind each of these, you can dive into more detail into each of these different roles. But I've sort of collated their work here just to give you a very brief snapshot, really, just all of these roles that actually none of them involve programming. You've got production, which is all around kind of organizing people. You've got design, which is about coming up with good ideas. And then you've got the artists and the musicians and all of the things that relate between them. There is a wide variety of roles that do not involve programming. If you enjoy telling stories and you love storytelling and story writing, and you know GCSE English is and A-level English is the way you're going to go because you love writing stories, there's a role for you in the industry. Every good game has a great story behind it, and we need people to write those stories. The other myth, I need to be great at playing games, or I need to really love playing games. Now, that's not true. Of course, if you're working in the video games industry and you are passionate about video games, that is a huge plus. It's a huge bonus. But you don't need to play games to work in games. There are a lot of people that work in video games that are not avid gamers. And it's not a necessity because the roles are so varied. You could easily go into marketing or finance and legal and actually not be a huge game player. Myself, in Ukie, we're a real mixed bag. We've got people who are very passionate about gameplay that will pick a game and they will finish it to the end. Then you've got people like me who I love playing games, but I think the only game I've ever played to the closing credits at the end is Monument Valley 2. So I'm more of a casual game player. So those are the myths, and that's kind of where we go with a few things. And I thought, so okay, based on that, can I leave you with a few tips? If you're interested, and if you think, okay, this might be something I want to explore, but how does somebody get in to the industry? And I thought what I might do is to leave you with about seven tips to help you find your path and your route into the industry. So tip number one, find your passion. And to be honest, this applies for any sector. This is sort of translatable, not just to video games, but to any career path. But you know what I've heard people say, I've spoken to a lot of people in the industry, both video games, animation, film, and all of these. And what they say is if you find out what your passion is and you can find a way to turn that into a career, then you will always be successful no matter what you do, because your passion will drive you to do more, to put those hours in, to do more hard work. But the idea is, you know, depending on your age range, you might be at an age where you're like, actually, I like a lot of things, but I don't really know what that one thing is that really gets me incredibly excited. In which case, my advice to you is just try a range of things. You never know what's going to be that one aspect of things that you think, okay, you know, I could do this for the rest of my life, until you've actually tried it, and it might surprise you. So try all sorts of things, join clubs at schools, try different activities, get involved with different opportunities, even the ones that you think you might not be that keen on, or you've never heard of, or you're not sure what it is. Give it a try. It might take you by surprise. And then trying to find out with a career, you will be successful, because as I said, you know, if you follow your passion and find a way to turn that into a career, you will be great. And do your research. Think about whether that, you know, it might be you love constructing Lego. There's elements there where it's about construction and architecture. What is it about that you like? Identify those skills. If it's storytelling, write more stories. Practice those skills. You could be anything with telling stories. If you like drawing, you know, think about the different opportunities and the pathways there. There's so many different aspects of it, and there's often, regardless of what that one feature is, there's lots of different careers that you can do with it. But do your research, find out what it is, and then hone your skills. Talent is about perfection. If it's one of the things, we were speaking to somebody who was looking for people to work in their art department, and they said, you know, I don't need someone that's really great at Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop or something, or because I can teach them that. I can send them on a 6-week intensive course and they can learn that. But what I can't give them are the 10 years of practice they have had in their fine art skills and that eye for artistic talent. That comes through years of practice. So you don't need the top end software. It is about the basic underlying talent that just needs time and practice. And it is what it is that. And if you're interested in it, then this is going to be a hobby and something you enjoy doing, and it's not going to be a chore. And that's why it's important to find your passion. But spend time practicing your skills again and again and again, and just get better and better and better, so that you do become incredibly talented at what you do. And as you do that, build a portfolio. Portfolios are key. They are so important. Almost all people will ask for them, especially if you're looking at something in the more creative sector. Pick your best work and pull it together. And your portfolio might be physical or it might be digital. There's different ways of doing both. And there's talks, people deliver talks just on how to build a good portfolio. So I won't go into the detail here, but essentially you are showcasing how great you are. And if you are, I mean, I guess art is one of the easiest examples to pick, and or narrative writing. You know, you might start something, don't necessarily throw it away, just keep it, because you might come to it a year, 2 years later, and you might think, well, actually, that was a good nugget of an idea, but I'm going to execute that differently. So sort of save those older pieces of work, retain them, and come back to them, and just put together this kind of real breadth and showcase to just show off your skills. And then start to talk about your work. People don't know about the work that you do unless you're willing to talk about it. So start to talk about it, showcase it. There's lots of places where you can post this online, you know, whether it's social media accounts or there's itch.io, GitHub, you know, pick a platform that you're comfortable with, that is appropriate. Speak to your teachers, speak to parents, think about what the best way is to do that in a responsible way, and start to showcase your work and to get feedback. And then inviting peers and people to, you know, to feed back to you will only help develop and improve your skills. And as you get older, this is about networking. So when the opportunities arise for you to attend events and opportunities where there's people within industry, go speak to them, and try and go to those opportunities. You never know what time, what location is the right conversation. We've run events where people have attended as participants or just as attendee and spectators. And we've had industry there and they've intermingled, and there's students that have managed to have the right conversation with, for example, an art director, and the art director has given them their email address and said, send me your work. And that student's then had some artwork featured in a AAA title. So, you know, it is about picking those right moments and grabbing those opportunities with both hands, you know, trying to speak to people. You will always learn something from that, even if it's just a piece of advice about what to do or what not to do, or just a bit of clarity of mind and a better understanding of what you're going for. But those conversations are so valuable, they're priceless. So please, you know, take the opportunity when it's appropriate and relevant for you to do so, do take the opportunity to have them. And don't be afraid to ask questions. People in industry love answering your questions, and the more questions, the better it is. So please don't ever hesitate to ask questions. And your communication skills. One of the key things that can differentiate two different applicants is an applicant's ability to communicate. You can have a great idea, but if you can't share that idea with anybody, it's no good, because it's only going to live in your head and nobody can ever help you bring it to life. If you're going to work in an organization, you need to be able to not just come up with good ideas or have a vision, but you need to be able to communicate that vision and those ideas with the people that you work with. So your communication skills and how you present yourself and how you work with other people is really important. And as you go through your school career, there will be many opportunities where your teachers will help you to develop your team working skills, your collaborative skills, your presentation skills, your communication skills. All of these are very, very, very highly sought after. And I wouldn't underestimate the value that they bring to you as an individual. And as I said, you know, if you've got two very, very talented people that both have great portfolios, both have made some use of some great opportunities, but one is better at communicating their vision and their abilities than the other person, then the person that's going to get hired is the person that has the better communication skills, because that's what people need, especially if you're working in the technical aspects of the industry. That communication skill cannot be underestimated. And just in closing, because I think my 15 minutes are up, is there is a massive world of opportunities, and there'll be lots of people trying to, hold that door open for you, to show you what's on the other side. It's there, and it's just with you to kind of step through it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I think absolutely everyone watching will now know. I especially love the myth busting at the beginning. I love a bit of myth busting with the creative industries. I think everyone is absolutely on your wavelength now when it comes to understanding how big the games industries is, how many things you can do in it as well. It's not just sitting there, coding games. It's so exciting. It is such an exciting sector, and it's growing so quickly. So yeah, and I implore everyone to check out more about what Ukie do. I put a couple of links down there as well in the chat if anyone wants to have a look at Digital Schoolhouse as well, which is the initiative that you guys run. Thank you so much for all your time. Anyone who's got any questions, again, like I said before, put them in the chat. We will be sending them to all the speakers afterwards, so we can get a written response or a video selfie response. Thank you so much. You are now free to go. Get on with your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.